Absolutely. My mom said I should win an Academy Award for tricking everyone into thinking I'm a dramatic actress. Yeah, 100%.
You know how it feels when the world seems to pick favorites, leaving some people invisible? For Hillary Swank, that lesson came painfully early. Born on July 30th, 1974, in Lincoln, Nebraska, she moved constantly with her family until they finally settled in a small trailer park near Lake Sammamish, Washington. By the time she was 6, she understood that the place you lived could decide your worth in other people's eyes. Invitations disappeared, friends pulled away, and the casual cruelty of peers became a constant shadow. She watched as classmates went to birthday parties or dinners, knowing she would be left behind simply because of her family's circumstances. That exclusion wasn't just painful, it was isolating, shaping a young girl's understanding of life, society, and her own resilience. Yet even in those lonely moments, Hillary was quietly observant. She noticed the subtle ways people judged others, how small details could alter someone's place in the world. She began to internalize lessons others didn't intend to teach, learning early that survival required awareness, alertness, and self-reliance. It was bitter, but it planted the seed of determination that would carry her through struggles far bigger than a playground snub. Little did she know, these early hardships would shape the woman who would one day stand on Hollywood's brightest stages, facing fame, heartbreak, and battles no one could see. Loneliness has a strange way of opening doors, and for Hillary, those doors were made of paper and celluloid. While classmates went to parties and played games, she turned to books and movies, losing herself in worlds where the pain of being an outsider didn't matter. Characters who fought impossible odds, climbed from darkness, and defied the world became her secret refuge. Each story offered more than entertainment. It offered understanding, companionship, and a quiet guide for survival. She began to see patterns in human behavior, glimpses of courage she wanted to emulate. By age 7, Hillary understood that while the world could reject her, stories never would. They became her training ground, teaching resilience, empathy, and the belief that circumstances didn't have to define her destiny. She didn't just escape, she absorbed, learned, and transformed the lessons into fuel. Each novel or film whispered the same promise: if others could survive, so could she. That fuel didn't just help her cope, it gave her the first sense of purpose and hinted at the career that would one day make her a household name. Her imagination wasn't idle, it was preparation. Every plotline, every struggle she witnessed, quietly built a framework for the woman she was becoming. Behind the magic of books and movies, real life was anything but gentle. Hillary's parents, Stephen and Judy, struggled constantly, juggling jobs and bills, their arguments and stress reverberating through the small trailer. By the time Hillary was 15, the marriage had collapsed entirely. Divorce forced her and her mother into an unimaginable leap of faith. In 1990, with only $75 in cash and a single gas station credit card, they left Washington for Los Angeles. No contacts, no safety net, no guarantees, only each other and a fragile dream. Every mile was a gamble, every night spent sleeping in their Oldsmobile a reminder of their precarious situation. Yet, through the fear and uncertainty, Hillary learned an essential lesson. Survival demanded persistence, courage, and the willingness to risk everything for a chance at a better life. Each day brought a problem to solve: how to eat, where to sleep, how to appear presentable for auditions. And each day built a resilience few teenagers ever develop. That struggle wasn't just about survival, it was about creating possibility in a world that gave her none. Those nights of discomfort, uncertainty, and relentless challenge became the foundation of the mental toughness she would rely on when Hollywood doors slammed in her face. Even amidst uncertainty, a spark was forming. Theater became more than a pastime, it became sanctuary. In Bellingham, the local theater community didn't see her past, her background, or her family's struggles. They saw talent. At 9 years old, Hillary took the stage as Mowgli in the Jungle Book. The applause, the lights, the energy, everything clicked. For the first time, she felt a sense of belonging, a proof that her effort and passion mattered. Every performance built her confidence and strengthened the idea that maybe the world did have space for her. Acting wasn't simply a hobby, it was a refuge, a place where she could channel frustration, longing, and ambition into something tangible. The stage offered control in a life otherwise filled with uncertainty. That early taste of acknowledgement and acceptance didn't just encourage her, it planted a seed of ambition. She began to realize that perhaps, just perhaps, she could make a career from the very thing that had brought her solace as a child. Theater taught her discipline, empathy, and the magic of transformation, lessons that would follow her into every role, every audition, and every Hollywood challenge ahead. By 15, staying in Bellingham wasn't enough. Hillary made a bold, risky choice. She dropped out of high school and, with her mother, headed for Los Angeles. The Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme became their home, carrying them across states, with weeks spent sleeping in rest stops and washing in public bathrooms. Each audition was a chance to survive, to inch closer to a dream that seemed almost impossible. Hunger, exhaustion, embarrassment. She endured all of it, knowing that failure wasn't an option. Los Angeles was a city of stars and illusions, but Hillary had already learned to thrive in uncertainty. Every day was a lesson in resilience, navigating auditions, learning to present herself despite limited resources, and holding on to belief when no one else could offer it. Books and movies had shown her a glimpse of what was possible. Now, she was living it, testing whether courage, grit, and talent could really carry her into a world that had nothing waiting but challenges. It was a crucible, painful, unforgiving, but necessary, and it shaped the foundation of a career that would one day astonish Hollywood. Los Angeles didn't roll out the red carpet. For Hillary Swank, the first years were a relentless grind of rejection and small victories. At just 16, she began landing tiny TV roles, minor appearances on shows like Harry and the Hendersons, Evening Shade, and Growing Pains. The pay was modest, often barely covering food or gas, but each role reminded her that persistence mattered. Auditions became a daily ritual of hope and disappointment. Agents, casting directors, and producers constantly evaluated her, and more often than not, the answer was no. She watched other actors, some less talented, secure roles she dreamed of. And yet, rejection didn't break her, it sharpened her resolve. Living out of a car and scraping together meals taught her to celebrate small wins, to clutch opportunity tightly when it appeared, no matter how small. Behind every no was a lesson. Every failed audition, every part she didn't get, was shaping her resilience, patience, and determination. She understood early that survival in Hollywood meant learning to endure disappointment while keeping the flame of ambition alive. The city was harsh, but Hillary had already survived worse: loneliness, poverty, exclusion. Now, she would survive Hollywood. Persistence eventually brought small but meaningful opportunities. Hillary scored a minor role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1992, playing Kimberly Hanna. The film wasn't a blockbuster, opening at number 5 in the North American box office, but it placed her inside the world she had fought so hard to reach. Critics barely noticed, but every set, every line delivered, was practice in craft and patience. Around the same time, she secured recurring roles on television, like her part in Camp Wilder from 1992 to 1993. These roles didn't make her famous, but they taught her the realities of working in the industry: long hours, constant critique, and the delicate balance between visibility and anonymity. She learned that every small part could either vanish into obscurity or become a stepping stone, and through it all, she refused to let frustration overwhelm her. She had endured life without comfort, without support, and without a safety net. Television studios were just another challenge, one she was ready to face. Every minor credit was a proof point. She belonged here. By 1994, Hillary earned her first lead role as Julie Pierce in The Next Karate Kid. On paper, it seemed like a perfect opportunity, a chance to shine in a well-known franchise. But reality was harsher. Audiences didn't connect, and the film grossed only $8.75 million domestically, a disappointing number for a big studio project. Critics praised Hillary's performance, but the movie's failure slowed her momentum. The lesson hit hard. Talent alone couldn't guarantee success. Choosing the right project mattered as much as the work itself. She realized that her career would demand not only resilience but strategic thinking, understanding which stories could highlight her strengths and which might bury them. Even in disappointment, she continued to learn, grow, and push forward. It wasn't a defeat. It was a stepping stone, a test of patience, and a reminder that Hollywood didn't reward effort. It rewarded timing, choices, and the right combination of risk and opportunity. Hollywood offered promise, but also frustration. In 1998, Hillary joined Beverly Hills 90210 for Season 8 as Carly Reynolds, a hardworking waitress and single mother. The role felt like stability after years of uncertainty. She imagined 2 years of steady work, visibility, and room to grow. Instead, after just 16 episodes, her character was quietly written out and sent to Montana, erased as if she had never mattered. The rejection hit harder than any audition no. Hillary began to doubt herself, wondering if she truly belonged in the city she had fought so hard to reach. Later, insiders confirmed it wasn't her talent. Weak writing and poor character development had doomed Carly Reynolds. Even when talent is real, Hollywood can fail actors with one simple misstep. The experience was painful but invaluable, teaching her that survival wasn't about avoiding failure. It was about recognizing when doors close so better ones could open. Just when self-doubt threatened to take hold, opportunity appeared. Hillary auditioned for Boys Don't Cry, the role of Brandon Teena, a character far removed from anything she had played. Preparation was grueling. Her long blonde hair was cut and dyed chestnut brown, and she lived as a man for almost a month. Chest bindings, voice lowering, studying court transcripts, adjusting posture and mannerisms. It was immersive, intense, and transformative. By the time filming ended, Hillary wasn't just acting, she was Brandon. Critics were stunned when the movie premiered in 1999. Her performance was raw, emotional, and unforgettable. Suddenly, the actress who had lived in Cars, survived rejection, and endured Hollywood's harshness became the center of a story that would define a generation. Her dedication wasn't just talent, it was courage, empathy, and an understanding of suffering that few could match. This role would launch her into the spotlight and prepare her for the first of her 2 Oscars. Everything changed in 2000. Hillary Swank stepped onto the 72nd Academy Awards stage and won her first Best Actress Oscar for Boys Don't Cry. It was the moment she had fought for through years of rejection, poverty, and self-doubt. But even as applause filled the Kodak Theater, a shadow fell over the night. In the rush, she forgot to thank her husband, Chad Lowe, the one who had moved across states with her, supported her tirelessly, and endured every hardship alongside her. Cameras captured her panic, and headlines turned a private oversight into a public spectacle. Suddenly, the story of her groundbreaking performance was overshadowed by a snub narrative. Behind the glamour, Hillary felt crushed, not by fame, but by the weight of expectation and media scrutiny. It was a reminder that Hollywood could turn triumph into judgment in seconds. But amid the tension, she also learned resilience and perspective. And here's a thought for you. If you were in her shoes, facing fame, heartbreak, and public judgment all at once, would you have handled it differently? If you're intrigued by stories like Hillary's, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your answer in the comments, because the lessons from her life go beyond Hollywood. Winning an Oscar didn't make life easier, it magnified everything. Behind the applause, Hillary's marriage to Chad Lowe began to show cracks. He struggled with his own career frustrations and personal challenges, while the spotlight relentlessly followed her every move. Life had a way of pairing her professional highs with personal lows. Hollywood celebrated her triumph, but private battles, marital tension, insecurities, and relentless pressure were invisible to the public. Every step forward came with new scrutiny. Fame wasn't just admiration, it was expectation, judgment, and a constant weighing of success against failure. For Hillary, this was a familiar pattern. Just as she had survived rejection as a teenager, she now had to survive public adoration, media twists, and the fragility of relationships under the microscope. The duality was exhausting, but it forged a mental toughness few could understand. Her focus remained unwavering: her craft, her dedication, and the roles that allowed her to tell stories that mattered. By the early 2000s, Hillary prepared for her next defining role: Maggie Fitzgerald in Million Dollar Baby. The training was brutal. She spent hours every day boxing, jumping rope, lifting weights, and even pushing her own SUV to build strength. She ate over 4,000 calories daily, studied footwork, and pushed her body to limits that few actors endure. At one point, she even developed a dangerous staph infection, but hid it to maintain her training rhythm. Her transformation wasn't just physical. It was total immersion into a fighter's life, a testament to her dedication and discipline. For audiences, the result would feel effortless and authentic. But behind the camera, every punch, every fall, and every exhausted step reflected years of struggle, sacrifice, and preparation. Her commitment paid off, bringing both critical acclaim and a second Oscar, solidifying her as one of Hollywood's most respected talents. In 2005, Hillary Swank won her second Academy Award, becoming the first woman of the 21st century to earn 2 Best Actress Oscars by age 30. On stage, she thanked her co-stars, colleagues, and mentors, and praised her husband, calling him her everything. But life outside the spotlight was far from perfect. Just a year later, cracks in her marriage grew, fueled by Chad Lowe's personal struggles and career frustrations. The contrast was stark: professional triumph in front of millions, private heartbreak behind closed doors. It was a reminder that public success doesn't always translate to personal happiness. For Hillary, this period highlighted a recurring pattern. Her biggest achievements often coincided with her most painful personal challenges. Yet, even amid emotional turmoil, she continued to pursue roles with intensity and focus, proving that resilience isn't just surviving. It's continuing to rise despite everything that threatens to pull you down. Even with 2 Oscars, Hollywood's approval proved fragile. Films like The Black Dahlia, The Core, and Amelia underperformed, with critics praising her performances but audiences failing to connect. Big budgets didn't guarantee success, and the industry began to see her narrowly as a prestige drama actress. Even as she explored different genres, she often encountered typecasting and high expectations that didn't align with the roles offered. At the same time, private struggles, including ongoing health challenges, added pressure. Yet Hillary never slowed. She understood that resilience meant adapting, learning, and continuing to work, even when the world seemed unpredictable. Each setback became a lesson. Fame was fleeting, but dedication to craft, persistence, and inner strength could never be taken away. Her story wasn't just about awards, it was about enduring, evolving, and refusing to let circumstance dictate her path. Even after 2 Oscars, Hillary Swank faced a paradox: respect without opportunity. Hollywood celebrated her achievements but struggled to find roles that matched her range. Films like The Black Dahlia and Amelia were intended to showcase her versatility, yet audiences often didn't connect. Critics praised her skill, but box office numbers told a different story. She became trapped in the label of prestige drama actress, making it difficult to break into other genres. This limitation wasn't due to lack of talent. It was the industry's perception, shaped by typecasting and outdated ideas about what women could play. For Hillary, the frustration was tangible. She had the ability to transform into any character, yet the roles offered were narrow, predictable, and often misaligned with her ambitions. Behind the cameras, she fought to be seen as more than her awards, as more than the characters Hollywood wanted her to play. Her persistence in choosing roles carefully reflected not only ambition, but also a desire to define her own path, refusing to settle for parts that didn't challenge her craft. While career pressures mounted, Hillary's body carried hidden struggles. For over a decade, she battled ovarian cysts and endometriosis, enduring pain, fatigue, and chronic discomfort. In 2008, she had emergency surgery to remove one ovary, leaving the other vulnerable to recurring cysts. Treatments, doctor visits, and constant monitoring became a quiet, personal battle she rarely shared publicly. Even as she trained intensely for roles, she faced the reality that her body was fragile and her health uncertain. Birth control offered no relief, and fertility concerns weighed heavily on her mind. The relentless duality, excelling professionally while silently. After her divorce from Chad Lowe in 2007 and several relationships that never reached permanence, Hillary's personal life found calm again in 2018. She met Philip Schneider on a blind date, and what began as a single meeting quickly blossomed into something extraordinary. They spent 12 hours together, talking and connecting as if they had known each other for years. Hillary described it as love at first sight, a natural ease she hadn't felt in decades. Marriage followed a few months later, offering stability and partnership that contrasted sharply with the pressures and heartbreaks of her previous years. This new chapter wasn't just about romance, it was a personal victory. Proof that resilience and patience in both career and life could bring unexpected joy. Even after decades of hardship, Hillary had found a space where she could nurture love while continuing to thrive professionally. In 2022, at age 47, Hillary Swank announced she was pregnant with twins. She had frozen her eggs at 37, navigating fertility challenges that had shadowed much of her adult life. The pregnancy was high risk, physically demanding, and emotionally charged, but she embraced it with patience and presence. On April 10, 2023, she gave birth to healthy twins, Ya and Om, on Easter Sunday. Motherhood brought a new kind of joy and fulfillment, one that contrasted with Hollywood's spotlight and the relentless pace of her career. Every hardship, from living in cars to enduring surgeries and denied insurance claims, culminated in this moment of triumph. Her story reminded the world that success isn't just professional accolades, it's the ability to overcome private struggles, find love, and experience life's most personal victories. Even at the height of fame, she proved that resilience, courage, and patience can create rewards far beyond what the public sees. Even after professional triumphs and personal joy, life reminded Hillary Swank that grief doesn't respect timing. In October 2025, her rescue dog Kai, who had been a constant companion through decades of ups and downs, passed away unexpectedly. Kai had been there during long nights in cars, endless auditions, the highs of Oscars, and the challenges of fertility treatments. The loss hit Hillary deeply. It wasn't just a pet, but a silent witness to her resilience and persistence. She shared an emotional tribute online, describing his quirky polka-dot paws and comforting presence. Fans worldwide responded, showing empathy not only for her fame, but for her humanity. The moment was a stark reminder that life's heartbreaks come even amid triumphs, and that loss, in all its forms, can reshape one's perspective. Hillary's reaction wasn't just mourning. It was reflection on the small anchors of life that support us through our darkest times, and how those anchors, even when gone, leave lasting imprints on our hearts. December 2025 brought another test of patience and public perception. At LAX, Hillary believed she was being filmed while traveling with her twins and reacted sharply toward a woman holding a phone. Only later did she learn the woman was not filming her, but was caring for two terminally ill children on a Make-A-Wish trip. The situation sparked media attention, forcing Hillary to apologize publicly. This incident revealed a harsh reality of fame. Constant scrutiny magnifies mistakes, and even moments of self-protection can become sensationalized. It was another reminder that her life, while extraordinary, was never private. The episode sparked broader discussions about empathy, celebrity pressure, and understanding before judgment. Hillary's response showed grace. She admitted error, made amends, and highlighted the tension between personal boundaries and public perception. Her experience reminded fans that even the strongest, most resilient people are human, and that fame often magnifies ordinary human mistakes into global spectacles. Now in her late 40s, Hillary Swank embodies a life defined by resilience, courage, and reinvention. From childhood struggles and living in a car to winning 2 Oscars and finally embracing motherhood, her journey reveals the interplay of talent, persistence, and vulnerability. She has faced rejection, typecasting, health battles, public scrutiny, and personal loss, but each challenge has contributed to her depth and empathy. Her story is more than a Hollywood narrative. It's a testament to the human spirit, showing that adversity, when met with courage, can shape extraordinary strength. Today, Hillary continues to pursue meaningful roles, advocate for women's health, and nurture her family, proving that life is a collection of challenges and triumphs, often intertwined. Her legacy isn't only the awards or recognition, but the example she sets. Resilience is cultivated through struggle, triumph is sweeter when hard won, and life's most profound victories often come in private, away from the spotlight. Her journey reminds us that even in fame, the human story of struggle, love, loss, and perseverance remains at the heart of who we are.